I'm Vicky Linnane and welcome to Embrace Therapy podcast. I am a practicing art therapist based in Ireland. In each episode, I will interview guests from various fields of therapy and well-being with the aim to encourage healing through embracing therapy.
Hi everyone and welcome back to the podcast. I'm sorry for the break. It wasn't a planned break, but with all the flus and viruses going around at the moment, I had to take a break. Again, lost my voice, third time this year. So roll on 2023 and hopefully I can be of full health and have my voice fully so I can do the podcast. It's really hard not to do it, so it's a pleasure to be back. And what a podcast I have for you today. On the podcast today is the lovely Eithne McAdam. She is an art therapist with lots of experience in the area of adult mental health, addiction and homelessness. Currently, Eithne is working as a creative arts therapist with First Fortnight. She's been there with them from the beginning, and it's just such a joy to hear of all the success that's occurring for this beautiful charity based in Dublin. So she works out of the First Fortnight Centre for Creative Haven House, so providing creative arts therapies for free for adults. And then also she's part of Cactus, which is again First Fortnight Child and Adolescent Creative Therapy Services based again in Dublin. For anyone who doesn't know what First Fortnight is, it's just this incredible charity that's based in Dublin. But they're getting bigger and they're getting wider, so it's kind of a whole Ireland approach now, which is really exciting. And this year the festival is running from the 6th to the 15th of January, and the very popular therapy sessions, which is just this incredible night with the amazing MC Stephen James Smith, and this is coming to Dublin, Wexford and Belfast this January, so it's very exciting to see. Therapy sessions is a powerful, moving and really, special night. So anyone who's been there before, I'm sure you'll remember this particular session, and if not, I really recommend it to anyone based in Dublin, Wexford or Belfast to go and get a ticket on firstfortnight.ie. So without further ado, I introduce to you Eithne McAdam, a practicing art therapist with First Fortnight charity in Dublin. Good morning.
Hi, or good afternoon, sorry. How are you? We all have a dose at the moment, so it's nice to still be able to meet and not give you what I have.
Yeah. How are you guys? Are you all right?
Yeah, Athena had a temperature since Saturday and it just hasn't gone down. So it kind of with Calpol, and I went and got Nurofen. I hate Nurofen. I hate giving it to her, but I went out and got it yesterday and it was just such a miracle worker. Her temperature went down to 37. I was like, this thing is insane. What is this? Yeah, I'm sure you know all about
they
it.
They respond so quickly, don't they, to anything like that? It's like, oh
yeah,
God, yeah, thank God.
That's
Poor
it.
thing.
I know. And how are you've two now? Yeah,
Rian and Fia.
yeah,
they're mad. They're great. Oh God, yeah, they keep us busy. And Fia is trying her best to talk. She's saying she's trying to repeat everything. It's very funny,
Oh gosh.
So she's just full of chat and bossy
Lovely
little woman. She's just the boss of the
right.
house. So yeah, it's great. She's gotten mad for shoes. She keeps robbing everyone's shoes and putting them on, and then or making you put your shoes on, and
That's
funny.
lovely. So tell me what you're up to at the moment. Where are you working and what are you doing?
So yeah, we're still the First Fortnight. So our service has really grown over the last few years. We've massively expanded. So obviously, you know that we set up in 2012, and the service we set up in 2012 was quite niche, and it was, it was as a pilot anyway. We set it up, so that was for adults in homelessness with a mental health either diagnosis or need. So that's something quite specific. And we were kind of initially targeting it to people with long and enduring mental health problems. And then as that grew, year on year, and we were kind of keeping up to date with all our outcomes and everything like that, and our trying to grow our evidence base. And on that we were being supported. It was really good. Like, the other agencies, the other within the kind of homeless network in Dublin were quite happy with us in terms of people's attendance rates. And a lot of the people that had been coming to us at that time, I think as professionals that they had been working with would have often had the attitude that, oh sure, we'll try anything, let's send them there, we'll try anything. And actually the responses we were getting from other professionals across homeless agencies was, wow, people are really turning up for you. Oh my God, wow, what are you doing differently? What's going on? So we were kind of really examined that. And, there was something definitely in the kind of the consistency of the approach, just showing people respect. It's quite necessary after dropping something there. But no, like, just something as when people have been so marginalized and they feel so isolated for such a long time, they often won't stand up for themselves. And some people had come to us saying, when we need to go to the doctor, we don't have an appointment, we just have to wait all day. Or if we need to go, to get a free lunch somewhere, we just have to queue all day. And then we get in trouble, we get excluded from services because we lose the head, or we get really angry because actually we're queuing all the time for everything we do. So it was quite unusual for a lot of people initially anyway, when we started at that time. A lot of people were just surprised that we were offering a consistent appointment at the same time every week, and that we were offering quite a medium to long term service. So we were starting with kind of 6-week blocks, 2 weeks we could add on to, and we were looking at long term work and up to 30 weeks of sessions, which was pretty much unheard of for therapy. And it's free at the point of contact. So we were eventually then funded by the Dublin Region Homeless Agency and the Dublin Region Homeless Executive and the HSE. So and then eventually it was like fully by the HSE. And that's they just kind of couldn't believe that we were offering it, and that we were offering people sessions even when they had dual diagnosis. So some
which
people
is a big thing.
Again, it was again, it was kind of trying to remove barriers to access rather than to find ways of excluding people. So that was kind of the big thing about it, was like, actually, how do we encourage people to come rather than say, no, you absolutely can't come, or make it as safe as possible for people to attend. And to be present and get whatever they can from it. You don't want to waste our own time or their time. That it's kind of it's important that money is used as as effectively as it can.
Look, but even just saying that, like, okay, great, it's a free service, obviously that is incredible, but the consistency part is the part I'm really just struck by, because when you think about it, like, the relationship is the most important thing, really, and consistency in that connection is everything. And it's crucial for any human to be feeling well, for someone to, say, I'm going to be here for you, I'm going to be here for you, and we're going to,
support
And that
you.
can be hard too. That can be really hard for people to really accept that.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that's the early days. And I'm sure you know well, Vicky, like it's the early days are really crucial
Yeah.
in working with people, in kind of just, you know, letting them know that that it is safe, but actually that they have, you know, they can vote, they have the power to say whether it's the right time for them, whether you know, whether the session length is too long for them. Like we would have had some people who said eventually when they were able to say it, because a lot of the time the anxiety levels are so high they can't actually quite express exactly what's going on for them, but they do get to a point and say, actually that was too long, you know, that's why I was becoming so kind of uneasy and things, that that they had the choice that we could cut the session length down and then work on that week on, building that up, and like kind of just regularly checking in around safety, around how someone's feeling, not assuming to know, because obviously people that can behave like everything's actually absolutely rosy, and then inside and it's a different story. So yeah, that's so we built on that, and then kind of we were offering that, we kind of expanded that service in terms of referrals, so we could accept people from across the homeless network. So anyone who's either at risk of homelessness or who were homelessness or had an experience of homelessness could access our service. We were at that time limited to only providing the service to adults, and that was purely down to our location. And so that was quite good. And then like we kind of have a wider array of kind of people, a wider, you know, people from much more varied kind of backgrounds and experiences kind of at that stage, because we had removed the with a mental health need kind of aspect to it too. And then people working, you know, key workers and general people working over the homeless agencies started becoming aware of us and started maybe getting more referrals, and word of mouth was getting out, so we were growing kind of all the time. And then luckily enough we got some funding, and we brought in a really fantastic person, Patricia Burke D'Souza, and Patricia would have been behind a really great program called Music in Mind, which she ran with she developed with the National Concert Hall and Mental Health Ireland, and she was running that for adults. And she got on board, and she had the idea of doing this for children as well. And this it's not a therapy, it's more of a kind of a wellness, kind of an 8-week program that with people, and it's really fantastic, really great. And so it was either drumming or singing workshops that she was doing. So she's running them again. She's running them for First Fortnight.
Amazing.
And so she also got on board. She would have had a lot of experience within the homeless area, and she got on board, and she secured funding to get a children's service up and running. And we got some funding through the Late Late Show toy show.
Oh,
appeal.
the toy show appeal, brilliant.
And then another fund from it's like it used to be called the Social Innovation Ireland. It's Government of Ireland. It's what's it called now? I'm just trying to think of the name of it.
It's not entrepreneur, is it?
No, it'll come to me. But anyway, we got this other piece of funding to run that. So we are now like completely expanded. We've got 4 therapists and Patricia, and we are working over oh my god, at least 8 different services that we work through, and we're providing music, drama, art therapy to children. And it's very wide kind of criteria, that there's either a risk of homelessness there, So we work from some schools, we work from some a direct provision centre, we work from our own base here in Berkeley Street, and we and then some domestic violence centres and things like that across the city. So that's it's really exciting. There's quite I think we got an external evaluation there recently, and I haven't seen the whole lot of it, but the kind of top line findings so far are really, really positive. That we've got really high number of attendance, appointments attended and things like that over the last year. So very positive. It's really good. It's growing all the time.
And that program is called Cactus, isn't that right? So it's the Child and Adolescent Creative Therapy Service, and it's for 3 to 18-year-olds. I just think that's incredible. Like, to see that, like, even a 4-year-old can come to see you, like, gosh, wow. It's amazing.
And that's and that's frequent. Like, that's not like that's even out of the norm. That we frequently get young children in, and
the impact,
it's really
the
good.
impact that's going to have, like, because getting them while they're young, I think, is the best. That's really so good.
It's great. And even sometimes people might be in a position where they're moving, or they're if they're homeless, they might be kind of between hostels or moving across the city, and it's just so important to have a positive experience with therapy. That this isn't whatever number of weeks they come for, whatever way they come, that we really, really want it to be a positive experience for them, and that they're getting something from it.
And are you doing the kind of management side of it, or are you doing the art therapy? So what are you doing?
Yeah. So I'm doing the therapy work. So
Good.
2 days. I'm working with both adults and children. So we're really we're out the door. We've got quite a lot of people we're seeing, and it's that's the thing. The demand is just growing all the time. We're really we're really quite full. I think it's just a constant kind of reassessment, kind of, I suppose, like just keeping on top of making sure that we're providing a good service, and like having that kind of balance, between children and adults, that are kind of doing both sides of that. So
it's amazing, because
it's great. It's really great to be part of.
I think it's just incredible. Like, and like, you're nearly 10 years. Are you going to do something big for like your 10-year anniversary? Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of. I'm sure we'll come up with something. But we have been marking. There's been a few markers already, like that. We are 1 year in our base in Berkeley Street.
Lovely.
Over 1 year, actually. We were in the summer, and so that was really nice. We marked that day, and that again, like, I suppose we have so many supporters of the work, and I think it's nice sometimes to hear the good news stories about things. Like, we often hear the bad news stories about the HSE or different agencies, but they do fun stuff like this, and it's brilliant. And again, like, it's just the onus is on us to just kind of responsibly use that funding, and to kind of give the arts therapy community a good name, to, like, it's kind of I suppose to properly educate people in different professions, that they just don't assume that they know about what we do or how we do it. It's just like, actually give them information and just try and be as professional as we possibly can. And that's always good. But I'm
sure they always ask as well, like, why the creative arts therapies? They're probably like, why does that work? Why does that approach work? I'm sure they're constantly asking.
I'm not actually, you'd be surprised. Like, I would find there's quite a lot of professionals, particularly thinking of OTs, SLTs, and kind of particularly family workers, family outreach workers and homeless agencies are really well aware of the good work we do, and they'd be kind of, singing praises of other therapists, and it's like, oh, this is really nice. It's nice to hear that back.
Gorgeous.
And it's nice to to be able to join those things up, because you do hear, we hear it kind of, it's word of mouth kind of stuff that we hear, the good news kind of stories from people, and the reasons actually why other professionals are referring to us is because they've had good experiences with other creative therapies. So that's, it's very encouraging, I have to say. It's really nice.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And as well, like, it's not just the creative arts therapies you're providing. It's like this well-being kind of arts and health kind of style as well. So it's like, sometimes people are saying like it's one or the other, but it doesn't have to be. In your centre, the service you provide, it includes all. So I think it's really nice to see that there's room for both.
I think that is really what First Fortnight is about as an organisation, as a charity. It's just challenging mental health stigma through the arts. So whatever way that can be done, like obviously the festival does it at the start of the year, and there's so many different events, different ways and means that they do that and provide that. And the thing is about it shouldn't be difficult. It should be a thing that people can feel warmly welcomed into, that it's not, you don't have to have any specific criteria to be able to involve yourself in these things. And I think there's, it's all a spectrum really, and it's all a continuum around mental health. You'll feel different ways at different times in your life. You'll need different supports, and even when you're feeling okay, it's still nice to be able to go along to things and be the support for others as well. So I think that's a really kind of big part of what draws all of these parts of this kind of diverse charity together.
Absolutely. And a little bit more about the festival as well. So it's the first 2 weeks of January, so really in the depths of winter, and it's cold and dark, and a lot of the time people, when we're walking through the cities of Ireland, so many people are on the streets, and for the festival to be then, I just think it's just really thought-provoking, and it's great. It's a really powerful time to have the festival. And I know over the years you've had so many events, really incredible ones, and you didn't stop over the pandemic. You did a lot of things online too as well, and you provided performances where people could kind of interact as well. Like, one that stands out is the therapy sessions performance, which was created by Stephen James Smith. I just like, that's incredible. How did that go? Did you attend, and how was it?
Stephen, he's
amazing.
It's just very special. It's a really, really special event. I think anyone who has been part of that, whether online or even in person, I don't know, there's some magic about it that you kind of can't put your finger on, but he really knows. Yeah, he really knows how to just kind of get the balance of of it, like that. It's not too serious, not that, just the balance of the mix of kind of emotions that come up, and it's really nice that it can be balanced. The therapy sessions kind of, there's a spoken word, there's someone, a performer comes and does some spoken word, and then there's some music, and then it kind of goes along like that for the evening, and it's just the balance that they strike is just really gorgeous. And that is the one that I think a lot of people will comment on. It's really special to a lot of people. A lot of people kind of may have only been to one years and years ago, and it's something that they'll kind of still remember and still bring up. So, but both, whether online or not, where I think that was a hard thing around the pandemic, is wondering how these things will land, or wondering about, is it going, or what are we losing what are we
Mm-hmm.
losing by not being in person, and kind of those kind of things. But actually then it brings so much extra as well, you
Yeah.
know.
It really
So
translated well online, like it really did. And it was so nice that it didn't have to
yeah,
stop, you know. I think again, it's just that consistency. I'm going to be there for you, and we're going to provide this, and not to give up hope, you know, no matter what
yeah,
throws that whatever is thrown your way, like, you know. Um,
yeah,
yeah, and I think that the use of spoken word, especially as an Irish woman, I don't know, it just does something to me. You know, spoken word is just something innate in us, I think, you know, and how we can use that. Oh, it's just gorgeous. So,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
It's one of those things that, you know, when you're there experiencing it, it's like, oh, I wish I could do it. But it's, you know,
yeah.
just so much yeah, I was just so much admiration really
Mhm.
for for him, and for the performers he brings. It's just
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't hold back, you know. I think that's the great thing as well. It's like they really bear all, and it brings on this vulnerability in the place, and then I suppose it invites people to engage with that, you know, that they can also be vulnerable too. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's just gorgeous.
I think that's a really important thing actually, Vicky, that sometimes it's kind of, it's good to have the kind of therapy background when thinking around that, because actually feeling vulnerable, you know, you can start to feel a little bit kind of unsteady, and it's good to know that then there is support for
Mhm.
that there, you know, that it's actually safely, you know, vulnerable, that there are people that you can talk to, or,
Yeah.
you know, just know that you can go to. And sometimes I think in events like that, it's, you know, it's just, it just pours out. So yeah, I think that's a really important aspect of it all, is like that,
Mm.
you know, that again, that balance, that yes, kind of communicate, but, you know when you need to take the support, or, you know, ask for the support.
Yeah, yeah, and I suppose like knowing that there's people there if you need to debrief is always a thing, you know. And then
Yeah,
you know, it seems as well that like your service is quite accessible, like, you know, to get a referral, like in, like, I suppose like maybe that's something we could talk about as well. It's like, what is the referral process? Do you need to go to a GP, or how would someone refer on? Like, let's say someone like me in the 30s.
have I lost you?
Oh, I'm here. I'm here. It's my connection. Someone obviously is watching something downstairs. Streaming and
Oh.
podcasting. It's never great.
Oh,
But yeah, I suppose I'm curious, what is the referral process? Because um you know, usually when it's HSE, you know, you'd have to go through your doctor, um or like some kind of family agency. But let's say, you know, we have somebody who really needs the help now but can't access you know, a GP. Can they refer themselves in, or how does it work?
so depending on whether it's an adult or a child, it's slightly different.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely with an adult, we we people can self-refer. So if they're homeless, or, you know, at risk thereof, they can self-refer. But what we would do is we would ask for a GP minimum point
Hmm.
of contact, and it's you know, a kind of continuity of care kind of, and safety kind of measure that we'd have in there with that. So I ask for a GP or another professional that knows them well, who would attend. So our first meeting with them would be a triage meeting, and
Oh yeah.
we'd kind of just discuss the process. We'd kind of answer any questions they have and go through our contract and things like that in the first meeting. So just so that everyone's clear about what it is. And there can be, you know, there can be some confusion about the arts therapies, um for about therapy in general, I think, for people who haven't attended before. So it's just good that they have a support person there with them in that
Hmm.
initial meeting, and that they're entering into it with full knowledge of what it is. And then for a child, Often it would be a parent or a guardian, in kind of conjunction with, like, it could be a teacher, it could be a social worker, it could be many different people that would make the referral with the parent. And we sometimes do get parents making, just sole parents making the referrals too. But again, we would kind of look for a contact point for them, that we, that there can be some follow up, or if there's even, let's say, like there's a broken phone, or that there's some point of contact that we will have, just for safety and continuity, really.
Yeah, that's really good, actually. And I suppose, like even the basic kind of things, like making sure that the support is quite wide initially, I think is quite good. So having a GP, I'm sure, is quite useful in that way. And like, would you say, like obviously I'm not really interested in figures or numbers, but like I'd be curious to know how many adults that come to you would be, quite suicidal. Like, would you say a lot of them are? Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot are. And that's not necessarily kind of found out in that first session either. That can come up at any point in the therapy. And like, that's, again, it can come up with anybody at any point. So it's just always good to have that, that support person, that kind of check-in person. And again, if that comes up, we would make the safety plan with the person and follow that. And generally that involves kind of having some other points of contact, extra ones on top of the ones that we already have, and trying to get them in place.
Yeah, it's so important. And I can only imagine, how suicidal ideation is, like, prevalent, because it's just so hard. There's just been so many knocks to people to end up where they are. And like you mentioned it earlier, that dual diagnosis as well, I think that has a lot to do with it as well. Like that, people end up having addictions to kind of help themselves, to numb themselves, and then it becomes this need. And so
it's
complex.
It's such an awful cycle. And I think just even being heard, just being someone, sitting with you and kind of, just being heard can get you through. And it's kind of, in those stages, again, it's like total safety, and it's, Patricia really brought this kind of to the fore for our services, the trauma informed practice.
Lovely.
So, like, wherever possible, we are kind of removing barriers to access, but actually kind of making sure that the safety is key. Safety is absolutely paramount. So for people to come when, if they're feeling really suicidal, what we're really focusing on is safety, keeping them safe, not really diving into past stuff, not really going kind of really deep on, this is why you're feeling like this, because this event happened, but just more so right in the moment. Let's keep you safe. Let's kind of put things in place that are safe, and then stabilize after that, and then then we can work from there. But like, I suppose we would have such a number of people who are just feeling really unsteady and have suicidal ideation. That's the focus. And I'd be really clear with people about that from the get-go. And again, I think actually that clarity makes people feel safe too. When you're really clear with someone when they first come in and say, okay, I'm not sure, I don't know you yet, like, we haven't really gotten to a level of kind of even trust yet between each other, but just so you know, this is how I work, and this is my priority. And I think sometimes you can almost hear the sigh of relief, being like, okay, this is all right. I'll test. I can test this out at least.
Yeah.
So that's often the process.
Lovely. And then the art, like the fact that like you're an art therapist, I think art is such a safe holding for people when they're going through those kind of thoughts as well, that like it's very gentle,
Yeah.
and it becomes like almost like an anchor to them in their
Yeah.
process. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it can be
Mm.
soothing in so many ways, depending on what they're using and how they're using it. But it can be really, really soothing. And then at the same time, like you're saying, like an anchor, and it can be contain, they can leave so many feelings with you. That they
Yes.
don't want to carry around all week. They'll say,
Yeah.
right, I'll just get all this out here on the page, leave that with you. You put that in your drawer now, and that's safe until next week. And kind
Mm-hmm.
of sometimes that bit of levity as well, that kind of bit of humor was a bit someone like going, okay, there you go, I'm gonna pack that all up there, and that they can revisit it as well, and when that's feeling safe. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is funny, like sometimes people leave, in their images or in whatever artwork they make, that they aren't ready at the point of making it. They aren't actually ready to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the nice thing about art, and I'm sure you experience this all the time too, Vicky, is like the nice thing about it is that it's a concrete thing they can come back and look at and be like, oh, okay, now
Yes.
I'm ready. Let's kind of talk about that a little more. But it's quite gentle, that it's done in their time, at
Mm-hmm.
their pace, and
Mm-hmm.
that they know it's there, they know it's there to come back to when they are at that point of
Yeah.
going there.
And the service as well also provides drama and music. So like there's options as well. So like if somebody's
Yeah.
just like maybe reluctant to get sensory, they can kind of try other. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, and sometimes art just doesn't float everyone's boat,
Mm-hmm.
like it's not
Yeah.
for everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of, again, it's a relief to people to hear that. It's like, yeah, that's grand. There's other options. And, you
Yeah.
know, there is no one size fits all. None of this is going to be perfect for everybody, but actually it's just nice to have the option.
Mm-hmm.
And like art, I do find sometimes art does bring up a lot of things for people, just a lot of memories from school, even if even if they went to school or if they finished school at primary school level, it'll bring it, like trying it out, or even smelling
Yeah.
paints, and
Yeah.
that kind of
Totally.
stuff can bring up so much for people, and actually can make them kind of feel a little unsteady, and like that they're not quite ready to go there yet. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes music is more accessible, drama is more accessible, writing, kind of creative writing with drama,
Yeah.
like that can feel much safer. And it's just great to have options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I I adore creative writing as well, and I think there's a definite place for that. Especially like with teens. I don't know what it is, but they seem to really gravitate towards that. Like even in the
Yeah.
art, like let's say we might make journals some weeks or something, they might end up bringing that home and writing in it, and bringing it back in, and this kind of um piece that can kind of leave the session. Sometimes that's important too. But for you, I'd say containment is probably the best thing, is that they know it's safe with you, and they don't have somewhere safe for their own artwork themselves. So that idea of like leaving it with you is important. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the drama part of it, like, do you ever like I suppose collaborate? Does that ever happen, that like
It hasn't recently, and due to COVID and everything,
yeah.
it hasn't. We are exploring that. Actually, we're
Mm,
exploring that all the time, and there's so much crossover
yeah.
in the way all of us work. If anyone working creatively, kind of, there's always going to be a crossover.
Yeah.
And actually, my colleagues, they're really amazing, they just amazing experience and things. So it's really lovely when we do get the opportunity to kind of get together and meet. And you know let's say, for instance, at the moment we're looking at evaluation tools and things like that
Yeah.
for children, and the ideas are just, they're just so good. They're so far away from these tick box kind of really boring forms. Like there's loads of different ways that we're there, the team are coming up with. So in that sense, there's collaboration at the moment, but actually in working with groups, it hasn't happened, and that's purely due to the last while, just been what's going on, and groups have been kind of limited enough. So, but yeah, we are fingers crossed for the future. Yeah, there'll be more of that, because I'd lap it up. I'd love that.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And like group work as well. It's just, it's something else. It's a beast. It's its own beast. Yeah, I love it. And then, like, you know, so this center, I suppose I'm working mostly with children. Like, I have a few adults that come to see me, but I'm so interested in the service Cactus and the building that you have as well. And its location is just so convenient, really. Like, there's so much around there, like, you know, and it's near the Mater as well. Should you need anything like that, it's great.
And you know, again, it, like, going back to that support I was mentioning earlier about the different agencies, the different services that support us. This is Peter McVerry Trust. It's their building that we're using, and they completely support us without telling anybody about it. They're not singing this from the rooftops at all. But they're really immensely supportive of us and our service, and they've, it's incredible, really, the work that they do, and it's not broadcast at all, but so that's the building we have currently, and again, there's hope of expansion with that. We have full-time access to this building, and it's as nice and as safe as you would want it to be, for any child coming in.
Wonderful.
And it is, like, a lot of them say, like, it's like kind of magic, and it's that thing about having lots of really lovely stuff at a child's level, and having, like, really nice colours and lighting and everything like that. So all those things have to be taken into account, but it's, when I come in, I love it. It's like a little Aladdin's cave.
Oh, wow.
It's just, you want to stay and play.
Gorgeous description. I'd say they do want to just come in and stay. Gosh. And then, like you mentioned as well, I suppose with children and how they come into the service, and sometimes it can be parents and teachers and social workers, but you also mentioned, like, domestic violence kind of centers as well. So, like, have you seen that over the last 2 years with the pandemic, like, that a lot of your referrals are coming in from that way because of being in the house more, or?
Not necessarily any increase in that sense. Like, just our referrals are always quite high anyway. But I suppose in working from, you see, if they're therapists working from a domestic violence centre, so it's an outreach day there, so they can see, so in that sense, I think sometimes with domestic violence centres or people in that situation, families in that situation, there's just there's so much going on. They may not want to travel across the city, but they really need the service. They really need the support. So it's us trying to find ways of providing our service that isn't going to cause extra stress for people. When you think yourself, if you have kids that you're trying to get them to appointments, and you've work going on, you've other stuff going on, you've other children even to mind, it's hard, it's hard. And then if there's any other difficulties in the mix, it's, it can make it feel almost impossible. So we want to remove some of them if we can, and just wherever we can. We've been doing that. So we're quite I think we're quite a flexible service. Not that we're so flexible that we don't have boundaries. We absolutely do, but it's that we're flexible we try to be flexible to the needs of the people who are using our service as much as we can be.
It really seems like you try your best to step into their shoes and kind of see it from their perspective. That's really important, that's gorgeous. Like,
I suppose for me in 2012, I was living in Dublin City myself, and I remember going to the first fortnight and just loving the festival, and then just seeing it grow and grow. And I'm very excited for this year's one, because I
Me too.
yeah, like just can't wait to
Yeah.
go, like actually leave my house and go to it,
Yeah.
it would be so nice. Is there anything in particular that you can tell us about this year's festival or?
I
Mhm.
definitely know that a lot of the focus is on quality.
Ah,
So that's the
yeah,
one big thing I can tell you, that they're really, really good, very much thought through quality events that, I know some of them had been either needed to be postponed because there was actually absolutely no other way.
yeah,
It wasn't, it kind of wasn't really feasible online. So I know some of them have been on hold for a little while because of the pandemic, and
yeah,
that'll be great. I'm really particularly looking forward to the theatre pieces
yeah.
myself. But what else can I tell you?
No, that's a lot. Like I
Yeah,
suppose that's what we kind of want to hear is that, that we're going to be in the theater again, and yeah, so that's really great. Um, and yeah, I'm just really excited, and just I suppose everybody needs to just keep their eyes on you guys and watch this progress and develop further, because that seems to be the only way that's going. It's just growing and growing and growing. Yeah.
yeah. There's always things in the mix. I think we're always kind of looking at ways to
Hmm.
to kind of expand. Like we kind of, it's not like we massively want to increase our size, but that we want to meet a need and
Yeah.
to expand to that need. But again, that really kind of carefully managed, that we wanted to, we wanted to be very secure and kind of
Hmm.
safe service for people who are attending, because often there is trauma there that we want to just kind of,
Hmm.
be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Like I just feel warm and fuzzy talking to you and hearing all about the work that
Oh,
you're
thank you.
doing. And
Well, I
yeah,
really hope you come in now someday. Come
oh,
visit
I'm
and see it.
gutted I couldn't
Yeah.
come in today. I just didn't want to be snottering and sneezing all over you. Otherwise, I'd
Yeah.
be there. I've got my tissue paper everywhere here. But no, definitely, I'd be too happy to go there. There's a lovely park near where you are as well. Um, oh, I can't think of it now, but
Yeah.
I love that
Pleasanton
park.
Basin. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's it. Oh,
It's a little, again, it's one of these like little kind of oasis. Like you don't expect it to be there. I love it. It's really
oh,
nice.
it's
Again, like
magic.
some of the children that come to the come to the service talk about that. Like it's kind of, it's a special part of their journey, like, because it's nice to think about people's journey to their therapy too, because sometimes it's their only time on their own with their mom, or it's their only time,
Yeah.
of getting, some one-to-one time. So
Hmm.
it's really nice, and that little park, I think it holds a special place for us anyway.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. If anyone's
And
passing
Vicky,
by.
I want to congratulate you too on your work. This is absolutely amazing what you're doing. I think it's really fantastic, and I know, it's definitely like a big commitment. So well done. It's really great.
I didn't know if I would keep doing it, when I got back to work. But it's just no one's ever said no. So I kind of feel like until
I don't
someone says
blame them.
no, I'm going to keep going and keep pestering.
Oh, oh, fantastic.
um,
No, it's really great. Fair play to you.
yeah.
You're really flying the flag, like, it's deadly.
It's good, like you said, just for people to know about the work that we're doing, because I think it goes like the Peter McVerry Trust, like they don't brag about it maybe, and we're not really in media much, so it's good for us to kind of get some kind of platform. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
fair play.
if anybody wants to check out your website, it's firstfortnight.ie, I think. Yeah.
Yes, that's
So
right.
yeah, people can
Yeah.
get in touch then as well through that.
Yeah, and they can get in touch with myself directly. That's Eithne, Eithne, at firstfortnight.ie, or there is Cat, that's Creative Art Therapy, at firstfortnight.ie as well.
Oh, perfect. Brilliant. Thank you so much for giving that. That's lovely.